WCBI News at 6 starts now.
It's hard to imagine college athletics with no fans, but that's about to be reality. Just 24 hours after saying the NCAA college basketball tournament would go on as planned, officials reverse course. Now, for the very latest on these developments, we turn things over to WCBI Sports' Courtney Robb, and this situation just keeps unfolding.
Yeah, Joey, the last 6 hours alone have been absolutely insane. The NCAA making it official that March Madness will have no fans this year. NCAA President Mark Emmert releasing a statement saying that he has made the decision to conduct upcoming championship events, including Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments, with only essential staff and limited family attendance. This coming just a day after Emmert announced again that the big dance would continue on as normal. The decision was a recommendation from the NCAA's COVID-19 advisory panel, and this is trickling down to the individual conferences as well, including the Southeastern Conference. We'll have much more of that information, Joey, coming up later in sports.
Definitely something that we'll keep following.
Yes, following very closely.
All right, thanks a lot. Mississippi State University releases new guidelines on international travel and possible impacts the coronavirus could have on classes. In a statement today, MSU canceled all international travel. This includes summer study abroad programs. The university is telling employees and students to avoid all non-essential out-of-state travel and not to make any new travel plans. MSU's Southeast Severe Storm Symposium will not have a physical meeting next weekend, and presentations will be moved online. University leaders are evaluating a move to online course instruction if the virus forces a quarantine or campus closure. Down in Hattiesburg, the University of Mississippi, Southern Mississippi rather, is asking students that travel for spring break to register with the school. A message sent to students from Student Affairs recommends that students not travel at all for spring break. The university wants students to register in case the school needs to contact them. Students are also warned in the message that they could be required to isolate themselves for 14 days after they return. The university there in Hattiesburg remains open. Mississippi has no known case of the coronavirus, but will receive $5.8 million for response efforts. Nationwide, the Centers for Disease Control is awarding more than $600 million to state and local health agencies. Alabama, which also does not have a reported case, will receive $8.1 million. CDC leaders say the money will help implement steps necessary to contain and mitigate the spread of the virus across the country. 32 people have been tested in Mississippi, but the results were negative. Louisiana, Arkansas, and Tennessee have reported cases of the coronavirus. Now, the World Health Organization declares the coronavirus a global pandemic. However, the process of cleaning medical equipment continues as normal. EMS teams at OCH Regional Medical Center say ambulances are cleaned after every call, no matter what was wrong with the patient. Hospital administrators recently met with Mississippi State Department of Health officials to discuss OCH's preparedness plan for the coronavirus.
After we drop them off inside our emergency room, we basically clean like we always clean. We use what we call a sterilizing solution. We sterilize everything, equipment, stretchers, anything that we use that we can sterilize, we'll sterilize it here. We do have some equipment, though, we will send up to our sterile supply. They will decontaminate it and send it back down to us totally sterile.
The OCH Emergency Department has added 2 questions for patients in the triage process to assess anyone that could have the coronavirus. The hospital also has airborne isolation rooms.
Some clouds, some rain, some storms out there today. We actually had a severe thunderstorm watch that was dropped early, and now we have a mix of sun and clouds across our region. That's our Alpha Insurance camera network. Right now, we're doing okay here as we go into the early evening. The rain on the way out. There's still a chance for a few isolated showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms later on this evening and tonight. So just to hedge the bet, we'll keep that in the forecast. There's a frontal boundary that's going to stay stationary tonight, so that will keep the rain chances around. Most spots probably won't see it, but it's possible. Temperatures will be mild this evening. 60s, worst case scenario tonight down to around 60. Tomorrow, wow, 79 degrees, pretty warm, pretty dry for a good chunk of the day, but we may see some late day storms into the evening after sunset. That could be on the strong side. We'll talk about that coming up.
In 2006, Felix Nguyen was sentenced to 120 years in prison for selling cocaine. After serving nearly 14 years, the state Supreme Court reversed course and Nguyen was resentenced to time served, making him a free man once again. WCBI's Bobby Martinez caught up with Nguyen today, who opened up about his time in prison and what's next for him. He joins us in the studio. Bobby?
Joey, Felix Nguyen says he wasn't shocked when he was sentenced to 120 years in prison. His lawyer at the time told him if he was found guilty, that would be his sentence. But through it all, he said that one day he would know he would be a free man.
I'm just glad I'm here now.
After spending close to 14 years in prison, Felix Nguyen is happy to be free again. In 2006, he was sent to prison for selling drugs. He was sentenced as a repeat offender and got 120 years. His reaction after receiving the sentence?
I smiled at him.
Yeah.
I smiled at him.
Why was that?
Yeah, I don't know, because it didn't seem real. What you doing this to me for?
Nguyen says the transition to his new life in prison didn't feel real either. During his time away, he lost many people who were dear to his heart.
It was tough because I lost my mama, my sister, aunt, another first cousin, but my fiance was right there with me, and some more of my family, you know what I'm saying? They didn't throw me away, you know what I'm saying? My family's right there with me.
Nguyen says he's made sure to always keep busy while in prison.
I participated in everything with a bunch of classes, Bible study, Votech, you know, coordinated art, I went to everything, drug and alcohol, computer. I had about 9 certificates. Then I worked in maintenance, electrician, plumbing.
Nguyen says about 6 months ago, he found out there was a chance he soon could be free. After filing for an appeal numerous times, he was given a court date, a chance at resentencing, and a chance to go home. Looking back at the whole experience, Nguyen says,
Man, look, it's hard to explain. It's over with. It's hard to explain. Like, time went so fast. You know what I'm saying? I did what I was going to do. I tried to stay busy.
Now, Nguyen is set on making the most of his second chance, and he's focused on the future.
I just got to go on with my life. I'm not even going to think about that. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to look forward. I ain't looking back. I'm looking forward. Well, I got to catch it around here because this is where I make my little money at. I want to turn it into a convenience store, but it's going to take a little money to do it. But I'm eventually going to do it because we're going to have a store out here in this community.
Nguyen says he also plans on spending his free time talking to the youth on the importance of making the right decisions. Joey, back to you.
An update to a story we brought you at midday. Tupelo police charge a man after a hostage standoff ends without injury. Officers were called to the 1100 block of Van Buren Street about 6:30 this morning. TPD called Henry Doss Jr. after receiving a report about a threat involving a gun. After calling Doss, officers learned 2 women were being held against their will. Doss released the women and surrendered to officers after about 90 minutes of talks. He's now charged with kidnapping, and more charges are pending. Lowndes County deputies want to question a man about a car that was shot. Investigators say are hoping that you can help them find Lonzel Harris Jr. Deputies say the victim reported several shots being fired at their vehicle on the night of March 7th. The reported incident happened on Carson Road in southern Lowndes County. One bullet hit the car. Harris is about 6'1" and weighs 170 pounds. If you know where he is tonight, call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers. A former Mississippi State and NFL football player is arrested on a domestic violence charge. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says Jonathan Banks and his wife got into an argument late Tuesday night at their home in Phoebe. Banks was arrested early this morning in Webster County. He's charged with domestic violence, aggravated assault. Scott says the victim told deputies that she was choked. Banks has been released on a $10,000 bond. An area town is trying to attract more visitors. We take a look at their efforts and how a little outside help may get them started. Welcome back, everyone. A Chickasaw County town wants to boost tourism, and it hopes a grant from the Mississippi Hills Heritage Area Alliance will help. Allie Martin tells us how the town will use the money and how it could pave the way for more funds in the future.
For Okolona Mayor Sherman Carruthers, letting potential tourists know about the town's rich history can be a big attraction.
One of Okolona's greatest assets, I think, is the history that Okolona has played in the formation of America.
Mayor Carruthers also knows having a strategy to showcase Okolona's history is necessary to get the attention of tourists. A $2,500 grant will be matched by the city of Okolona to pay for a consultant who will visit the area and help come up with a plan to boost tourism.
Our attributes are so great that we're a community that's able to address from Civil War to civil rights. From the Civil War role at Okolona in its 3 skirmishes to the founding of the Okolona College, which was a college founded for African Americans right after radical Reconstruction.
As Economic Development Liaison for Okolona, Patsy Gregory recognizes the challenges Okolona has faced when it comes to economic development and tourism. Gregory believes the grant will help Okolona come up with ideas and itineraries for tourists to not only pique their interest in historical sites, but also keep the tourists in town longer.
When they come, they need to know what to do, where to go, what to see, and so we're very excited because we have a National Historic District with over 300 buildings and homes.
The city will also encourage developers to take advantage of tax credits available for renovating and improving older buildings and homes. In Okolona, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
There's not a date set for the consultant's visit. The city will receive the grant during an award ceremony next week. Well, some rain moved through, but it's gone now pretty much.
Great evening developing right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully folks can get out there and enjoy it. We had the risk for a few storms today that could have been strong. We didn't pan that out. That's certainly good news, but there could be some strong storms in the region on Thursday. Some of that could slip into North Mississippi after sunset tomorrow. We'll talk about that threat coming up next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
We have turned the page on winter. We are just full steam ahead as we get into spring. Still technically winter right now, but let's just say spring has sprung. Warm, wet, and stormy weather for the near term. Daily rain chances, but it will be spring-like as these temperatures are getting on up there. A shot at 80 degrees in some spots tomorrow. We may see a few showers around early and some clouds, and then we'll go partly cloudy or variably cloudy during the day. A southwest wind should boost temperatures well into the 70s. Some of you could actually get to 80. Basically dry during a good chunk of the day. After sunset tomorrow, we'll have the risk for some additional gusty storms that could roll on in from parts of Tennessee. Overall, that threat, much like today on the low end of the spectrum, wind, maybe some hail with the stronger storm cells. This would be tomorrow evening after sunset. Not guaranteed. Today's event really didn't do anything, and that was certainly good news in the big picture. We had some rain, some thunder, and some gusty breezes, no warnings out there. That's how it looked with our time lapse from downtown Columbus today. We started off the day cloudy, and then we saw a little bit of some sun. Then we had the storms. Now we have a decent evening. The rain and the storms now moving over into Alabama. That's quickly weakening. We had a few isolated showers earlier. Still a few blips being detected there southwest of Batesville. Can't rule out some additional showers or thunder showers here in North Mississippi tonight. We have a little bit more wind energy zipping back in from the west, and also this frontal boundary that's hanging out too. So that could kick off some additional showers and storms. So we'll just watch and see what happens on radar later on tonight. We don't expect those to be strong, of course. We'll just wait and see what happens here. Tomorrow, widespread 70s, a shot at 80 degrees. The best chance for some of these storms will be during the latter part of the day, really after sunset. So here's the picture. There's that front. It's going to be waiting in the wings tomorrow evening and then come on down and give us a chance for some storms. And then it's just going to hang out here as we get into your Friday. And that means a cooler day for us will likely be north of it, a chance for some showers. That front is really the thing that keeps bobbing back and forth. And don't forget, Saturday we're going back to Starkville to Academy to set up some more weather radios with our preparedness tour. So unsettled is the term of the forecast here, Joey, but we are warming things up.
Yeah, at least it's warm, and I guess that bobbing front is what's causing all this.
Big part of it.
Yeah. All these showers. Just can't get rid of it.
It's been 2020, the year of the rain, and it just will not end.
This is true. All right, thanks, Keith. Well, the Ole Miss Rebels fight to play another day tonight. More on the SEC tournament next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb. is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
The SEC tournament is officially underway. Ole Miss and Georgia currently squaring off in a 12-13 matchup at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. WCBI Sports' Tom Ebel joins us live from the Music City with the latest. Hey, Tom.
Courtney, as of about 30 seconds ago, Georgia leads Ole Miss 20-10 in the 12-13 seed game. That game tipping off at the top of the hour. Ole Miss, the only reason why they're even close in the ball game is Devontae Shuler with 6 of the 10 points to this point so far. Georgia came out of the gates red hot, shooting 85% from the field. Again, they have a full 10-point lead here in Nashville, and it's do or die time. If Ole Miss loses, that's a wrap, and the Breein Tyree era comes to an end. Or will we get the pleasure of seeing Breein for one more game? We'll find out later tonight. We'll have the full recap coming up at 10 here on WCBI Sports. But the big story around the sports world is the coronavirus's effect on March. The NCAA already announcing that fans will not be permitted inside March Madness in the NCAA men's or women's tournament. So far, the SEC, the decision is there is no decision. Officials meeting so far trying to determine the future of the tournament. They allowed the doors to open. As you can see, fans still piling into Bridgestone Arena, but the decision is for the future of the tournament starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and of course that would be impacting Mississippi State, who won't play until Friday. We've already seen the Big 10 and the Big 12 bar fans from their conference tournaments. So we'll see what happens with the SEC and their decision. A decision is expected later tonight, but we'll see and keep you updated on that again later tonight at 10. So make sure you tune in not only for an Ole Miss Georgia recap, but the latest from here in Nashville regarding the future of the SEC tournament in terms of fans being able to attend. Reporting here outside Bridgestone Arena, Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports. Courtney, we'll send it back to you.
So Tom kind of touched on it. We're not 100% sure whether or not the remainder of this tournament will continue on throughout the week. We are waiting for that decision to come from the SEC later this evening. Let's say it does happen. Here's what we're looking at right now. We've got Ole Miss and Georgia squaring off right now. The winner of that game will go on to take on 5th-seeded Florida. That game will be Thursday at approximately 2:30 in the afternoon. Meanwhile, the winner of that game will be able to advance on and play Mississippi State. Now, for the most part, this tournament will still be going on. The question is whether or not fans will be allowed. So you can expect that these games are going to go in this order for the remainder of the week, barring anything absolutely insane happening. So Mississippi State will be playing the winner of that second game. A potential to play against Ole Miss for a third time this season. MSU forward Reggie Perry had some thoughts on that. Take a listen.
It's whatever. It'll be good for the SEC. It'll be good for Mississippi to see two Mississippi teams facing again for the third time. It'll be a great challenge. Third time is always. It's already hard to beat a team twice. It's even harder to beat a team 3 times. Since we already beat them once. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat them twice.
The NCAA prohibiting fans from the tournament means no attendance numbers in Starkville. The Mississippi State women were slotted to host a regional at the Humphrey Coliseum. However, due to the NCAA's ruling, that will no longer be permitted. No fans will be able to watch at the Humphrey Coliseum for the Starkville Regional. MSU Athletics has already begun selling tickets for the first 2 rounds of the tournament, also releasing that a watch party for the selection show will be held on Monday at the Hump, saying it would be open to fans. The athletics department has yet to release any official following statement, Joey. And this is something that we've seen not only trickle down throughout all of basketball, whether that's at the college level, now we're seeing it in the NBA. Baseball also coming out in the Big Ten saying that no fans will be permitted at any of their games for the rest of spring. So we could be looking at this for the next few months.
And I think the Ivy League canceled the entire spring season.
Yes, they did.
For baseball. So crazy things are happening. Yeah, I know, and I know we'll be keeping a close eye on it in coming days. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
WCBI sports coverage of the 2020 SEC Men's Basketball Tournament in Nashville is brought to you by Columbus Orthopedic. Trust one place. Cannon Ford of Starkville. Nobody beats a Cannon deal. Nobody. And visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
No surprise here, we have more showers and storms in the forecast. Temperatures are warming up, so if you want it to be warm and sultry, guess what? It's coming our way.
Hey, all right.
Stay put.
Not a washout every day, though.
Not
right?
really, but they'll be around.
All right. Thanks, Keith. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a good night.